Hello everyone. I'm going to show you a really cool Linux distro today. It's called TinyCore Linux. So let's go and see a couple of details about this distro. Let's start with, let's say, advantages. It has a really small footprint. Sorry. It's fast. Actually, the speed comes from its simple architecture, and it can load into RAM memory. These are just a couple of the advantages. So, what about cons or downsides? You don't have the commodity of a fancy graphical desktop. It comes with X-Face desktop environment, and of course, X-Face is a modern desktop environment, but it's not like GNOME or KDE. Also, you don't have a big repository. You will find most of the tools and the services expected from a Linux distro, but of course, the repository is limited. And you don't have this is maybe the most important thing, you don't have the insurance of enterprise Linux distribution like Red Hat or SUSE Enterprise. And last thing, no systemd, which is not really a bad thing, or it can be also sorry, a positive thing about this, because it simplifies everything. So after all, why would you want to install and to have TinyCore? Because if you want to make the best use of your hardware resources, this would be a good choice. I've used it a couple of times in my labs where I needed I don't know, like 10 virtual machines with no more than 128 gigs of megs of RAM. So that was a good choice. And let's see a couple of things about the architecture of the system. Let me save this. Okay. So, sorry. Architecture. You will see they have on their website a couple of graphical posters that detail the architecture in a much nicer way, but I just want to give you the main components, in my opinion, of the distro. So here they comes, the kernel, of course, and there's also a RAM drive, which I think is called core.gz, and the extensions. The extensions come as a Squash FS archive. For those of you which don't know what Squash FS is, it's a type of archive which can be mounted as a file system, something similar with ISO. I would say that also BusyBox is a component of the distro. And lastly, it comes with SysLinux bootloader. In previous versions, it had the group, but for some reason they switched to SysLinux. I think from version 12. I don't know. I haven't used it lately. I just found out that in the actual version it has syslinux. So this is about the architecture. I will show you also those poster on their website. So let's go to their website. Here it is. Here in the core concepts, there are a couple of important pages. The core concepts gives you a couple of details and informations about like a high overview of the system, some installation modes and modes of operation. And what's important in this page is it contains the links to these diagrams that I told you about. One is right here, one I think is here. Anyway, I've opened them in new tabs in my browser. Here they are. So as you can see here, there are all the details of the architecture, the extensions, the my data. I haven't told you about my data.tgz. It has to do with the persistency, and as you will see, persistency is a feature that is not working right out of the box with TinyCore. Anyway, you can go and download this and study them to see all the details of the architecture. And they also have a book which comes in a PDF format as well. Let's go to the downloads page. Here you can see they have 3 versions of the system, Core being the smallest one, and Core Plus being the one with all the extensions installed. Actually, you can start with Core and install all the extension up to the full distribution. I will exemplify an installation starting from Core. You can see the extensions here if you want to browse and see what they have in the repository, whatever. So let's go back. I want to show you, before I start the installation, I want to show you a couple of things about the installation process. So, just a second. Installation. They simplified things a lot in the current version. It was a bit harder in the previous versions, so let's see how it was working in the previous versions. You needed to install CFDisk. First you would boot with the live ISO, then you would install these extensions, CFDisk and group, then partition the disk, and copy files. I'm talking about the kernel and the RAM drive. Then maybe edit the configuration file of group, and then lastly, or last step, install group on master boot if you want. But all this has been simplified a lot in the actual version. You just need to install an extension which is called TC install, I think. And after that you run this and you are guided through the whole process. It's very easy, as you will see. So let's open up VirtualBox and try to install a machine like that. Let's create a new one, TinyCore. If you paid attention, you have noticed that it automatically changed to, it detected that from the name that is a sort of Linux distro. It chose Oracle 64-bit. I go with next. I don't need more than 256 megs of RAM. Also for the hard drive, as you will see, 256. Let's create the machine, edit a couple of details. This looks good. Blah blah. I don't need the floppy. I don't need audio also. And I want to choose here the image to boot from. I already download the core version, the smallest one, as I told you. And let's start the machine. I will go into scaled mode for you to see better here what I'm doing. Let's type enter to boot the machine and make this bigger even. Alright. It takes a little more than normal because here I run a virtual machine inside a virtual machine. On a normal virtual machine, it doesn't take more than 2 or 3 seconds at most. So here we are booted into the live version of the system. And from here, I have a couple of tools. TCE is guided package manager and repository manager. So I will run this. And here I can type S to search for an extension to install. And I said we will go and install this one. They have 2 versions. I don't need the GUI version, so I choose 2. Here I have a couple of infos. I type Q and then I for installation. And it will start the installation. It also downloads a couple of dependencies, as you see, Perl 5 and also the compression utility, maybe a couple of libraries. I hope it's not taking too long. All right. So it installed the extension. I can exit out of here. And now I have this available to run. It's actually a shell script. I need to be root. So I want to install from the booted CD-ROM. They are detailing these modes of installation, frugal, HDD, blah, blah, blah. But in 99% of the situations, you only need, you just need frugal. So I will go with frugal here. I want to use the whole disk. I want to install a bootloader. It's asking me for some supplementary extensions or a path through a directory containing those extensions. I don't have any. I just type enter. I want to use ext4 file system. I don't want to specify any supplementary boot options. So last chance, blah blah. I'm sure of that. So the partitioning is starting. As you will see, also the installation is not taking too long. So this is it. I can halt the system right now. All right, let's close this. Power off. And then edit settings and unmount the or remove the disk from the drive, so we can boot from the hard drive. So start the machine again. Go in this mode for you to be able to see better. And this was it. Right now we are booted into the system from the hard drive. So in a second part of this, I will show you some details about how to configure this system, the important files, how to install other extensions. But Before I go, I will show you a couple of more things. I told you lots of the basic tools are coming from BusyBox. So to prove that, if you are listing the tools in bin or sbin, you can see they are actually symbolic links to BusyBox. Other things, we already used TCE, but there are a couple of more tools that are starting with TCE, and there's another package repository which is called TCE load. So if you know the name of the extension, you can install it or download it like this. I don't use TCE load. TCE is enough for me. You have also TCE remove. TCE update is an important one if you want to make updates. Last thing before I go, I told you you need to work a bit to attain persistency, and an important component of persistency is the TCE folder, which in my case is on the only hard drive available right here. So what we find in here is the persistency archive, the mydata.tgz, a couple of extensions. The extensions are downloaded here in the optional, not in the on-demand, I think. We don't have any extensions installed right now. You will see them and the boot files. All right, so hope this has been helpful for you, and I'm waiting for you in the second part. So bye bye.